welcome to the Boopcast. We are your hosts. I am SheNoob, aka Beck, and you are...
I'm Cory.
He is Cory, and this is the premiere episode of the Boopcast. So, this sort of came about as an idea that I had about a year ago, and originally I was going to do it with the Ruby Abridged team, and then they went on hiatus for like 8 months, so that wasn't going to happen. And then I thought, who better to do this with than Mr. Severson, who we spend most of our lives talking to each other about Ruby anyway. So
yeah.
Welcome to the Boopcast. Hope you'll enjoy. We're going to spend the next half hour or so talking about all things Ruby Volume 4, answering some of the questions you guys have posted to us in the last day, and generally fangirling about the trailer.
It was so good.
So we've written down a few things that we want to talk about that specifically to do with the trailer. I don't think anything I've written conflicts with the questions. You'll forgive us too if we're not very good at this because we've never done it before, so we'll get better as the volume goes on. Speaking of the volume, each episode of the Boopcast will be recorded and hopefully uploaded the day after each Ruby episode is made available for sponsors. So it's the same day that it goes live for the public. If it's not uploaded on that day, it'll be uploaded the next day. It just depends on how long it takes me to edit and whether or not I have a crap ton of other work to do on that same day. So, Cory, would you like to kick us off with...
Oh, no. Okay.
Please.
So I guess you need to watch our reactions too because those exist.
Yeah, right. So we both have done reactions to the Ruby Volume 4 character short or trailer. So if you haven't watched them, you need to go watch them first. And yeah. So we've both written a few things down that we noticed and wanted to talk about to do with that video. Also, if you haven't seen the video, what are you even doing here? Go watch it. Yeah. Off you go.
Okay. Well, I guess the first thing I wanted to talk about is just how visibly battle damaged like Ruby is. Like her cloak is all cut up and
yeah, I have that written down here too. So yeah, like her cape is in shreds and Crescent Rose is taking a beating and I mean, I guess she's just been on the road for like 6 to 8 months. They're still not being specific about the time skip, but I guess she hasn't had the time or the means to maintain her weapon. And I mean, like, Crescent Rose is her baby, so it's surprising to see him or her, so battle worn. But I guess she also hasn't been fighting this much ever in her entire life.
Yeah, I know.
The perils of road trips.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was interesting to see, like Ruby with, just so tattered. Like it was the first thing I noticed in the trailer is when she steps out, you can see the bottom of her cape and it's just torn to shreds.
Yeah, that caught my eye when I saw the trailer too. I like it though. I mean,
I do too.
It's realistic. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of Team Ranger now and seeing if they're in the same sort of state or not. Because it would be a bit weird if Ruby was all like torn up and they were just like, we just walked off of a catwalk, like...
Yeah, exactly.
That would be weird. So the first thing I noticed, which you probably saw in my reaction, is that when Ruby is walking in one of the first shots and she's kind of turning her shoulders, her emblem was actually reflecting off of the moonlight, which I thought was really interesting because like it gives it a sense so much more of being metal rather than just this flat sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Plastic thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, I just liked it. I was like, it's just a nice little detail that wasn't
Mm-hmm.
there before. Um,
Uh,
I'm,
I don't, well, since we did talk about Jean a little, I saw some people who, if you look in at the, I mean, I guess kind of skipping to the end, if you look at his picture when she's talking to the rest of Ranger, people are pointing out that in the corner of Jean's picture, you can see like a kind of a bronze thing, like right here. And some people think he might have taken like Pyrrha's shield and replaced one of his like shoulder pads or something. Or maybe it was just like a weird coloration, but I don't know. I kind of thought it was interesting that he might have something of Pyrrha's on him.
it is interesting, but at the same time, I think people read into things way too much.
That is also,
So
yeah,
it could be
too.
nothing, but it could be something.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we won't know until the episode comes out in like
Yeah, exactly.
3 weeks. Less than 3 weeks.
My God.
Ugh. So, one thing I mentioned, and actually Rooster Teeth posted about it as soon as I mentioned it, was that I like the way the video mimics the Red trailer in that just about anywhere you can pause the video and it's like computer background and it looks so beautiful, especially that shot where Ruby bursts out of the window and she's like the moon's in the background and it's like that's my favorite shot of the entire thing because it's amazing. The shadows looked incredible, which is something that Ruby's always been lacking in is decent shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And now
Yeah,
it's
I noticed in
so many shadows.
yeah, I noticed how in one of the early shots when she's looking over the village, you can see her hair is reflecting shadows onto her face, and I'm like, wow, they've never done stuff like that before.
No, never. And speaking of animation, the animation in this video, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
They've set the bar so high for Volume 4 now. And I feel like Volume 4 isn't going to be as good as that trailer because I feel like they spent a lot of time working on that trailer and making sure it was perfect. And I feel like the episodes are going to be disappointing in comparison. Or maybe they won't. I hope they won't. But
I hope they won't, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, the animation, I saw people talking about how like they thought it was a downgrade or that it was really like stiff.
So many
or
people
like
thought it was jerky, and I wonder if it's just because they're watching the video in a lower quality or not. Because like the only way to watch this video is in 1080p. If you watch it in anything lower, it's just not going to look as good. So, yeah. The Beowulfs especially, I thought the animation on them had improved immensely. Like, if I go back and look at Volume 2, for example, I don't remember what chapter it is. It's like chapter 10. I forget what it's called now. But when they're in Mountain Glen. Oh, Search and Destroy. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
And the Beowulf is like emerging through the buildings, and it's just like it just looks like a animatronic Beowulf. It was so bad. I was like, oh, cringe. But these ones looked fabulous. Like, I didn't notice any, like, it was so smooth, and like, oh, I just loved it. They kind of reminded me of serpents, actually. I'm not sure why.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah?
It was just, they are so, like, their movements are so smooth and, like, blend into each other that it is kind of like that.
Yeah. I loved... Okay, I'm gonna answer, because somebody asked me a question about this. Master Poppers on YouTube asked me, what did you think of this new Red Like Roses score? So, I want to talk about this music, because it was amazing, as always. But it was incredibly different from anything we've heard in Ruby so far. It was very... Not creepy's not the word I want. It was very, God, what's the word I want?
Ominous.
Yeah, ominous. It was really ominous, and I liked it a lot. And I really liked the sort of Spanish guitar influence, and the bit in the middle when the camera rotates around Ruby and it's like doo 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 doo. I loved that bit. That was like, I was like, ugh, I'm getting chills. But
Yeah.
I had one issue with that spot there. I was totally expecting Ruby to like reload Crescent Rose, but she didn't. I was like,
That would have been a great opportunity.
yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, that's a perfect opportunity for her to be like, and just like drop the magazine and stick a new one in. But I was like, missed opportunity completely.
Mm-hmm.
What else have you got written down there?
Well, I wanted to talk about the gorilla, the Grimm
my
that she
God,
fought for
yes.
most of it.
What's it called? It's got a name, but I can't pronounce it.
Did they release a name? Because I didn't see it anywhere.
On the concept art, there's like a name.
Oh, right.
And I
I don't
think
know.
it starts with like a B, but it's spelled weirdly, and I have no idea how to say it. Yeah, that Grimm was so intimidating. And like somebody mentioned in the comments that he's like battle worn. He's, you know, missing an eye and he's got burns on the left side of his face. So he has seen combat and has come out on top. So he's obviously a really tough kind of Grimm. And he gave Ruby a run for her money.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And just like they're so smart too. Like like the Beowulf was like, they kind of worked off each other's movements, and the Beowulf like knew that the gorilla knew to throw the Beowulf up there and followed it up when she cut him down.
yeah, and the Beowulfs were chucking bricks at her. Like, we've never seen Grimm behave like that. We've only seen Grimm sort of just like mindless animals, but these ones are smart and they know how to kill, really. So, which is interesting. I mean, the team did say that Grimm were different in all parts of the world, and they're out in the wilderness where Grimm have probably existed for a long time. And what's his face? Oobleck mentions that the Grimm can learn when he talks about the Goliath in Volume 2. So, yeah, it was really cool to see the Grimm actually, like, doing things
Impose a threat.
other than just snarling and being angry. I have another question here from Pisky and Waterbender on YouTube, who asks if I'm going to be doing full episode reactions this volume. And I wanted to address this because some people have asked me why I edit my reaction videos. And it's because when I watch Ruby, I spend a lot of the time sitting there just watching it. And I feel like that's boring to watch, so I cut it out. I'm probably not going to do full episode reactions unless like the entire episode is like full of things to react to. But if I sit there for any length of time not saying anything, I'm not going to leave it in. So, yeah, just to address that, because I know a lot of people have been like, why don't you just do the full episode? Also because I don't want to stick the entire episode in my video because y'all have already seen it. And I don't feel like uploading like 16-minute long reactions to when I spend half of that time just sitting there staring at the screen. So, yeah, that's why I don't and probably won't do the full episodes. I mean, it's not a reaction channel. It's a Ruby channel.
Yeah.
So I'm not up here reacting to every single thing that I watch. So, yeah. Speaking of reactors, Cory knows what I'm about to say. I have to mention this. So, yesterday, Murder of Birds left a comment on my reaction video, and apparently he's been watching my videos for about a year without saying anything. And I we both sort of kind of freaked out a bit. And I just wanted to say...
You were out of commission for...
I so was. We were in the middle of playing Dead by Daylight too, and I was like, Cory, oh my god. But I just wanted to say cheers, Murder of Birds, and thanks for watching my videos. Like, he's the king of YouTube, of Ruby reacting, so that was really weird. Another question from Sparky510 Games on YouTube was, what do you think of the chances for From Shadows and Iburn Part 2 happening? Because the other two were awesome. Yes, they were. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, probably, but, like, I want them to do them in significant ways. Like, I want them to be significant moments for the characters.
Yeah, I feel like they've kind of started a trend now, so they sort of have to do all four, but I mean, I didn't really expect them to do Mirror Mirror Part 2, to be honest. I thought Red Like Roses was the only one that was going to get that treatment, but now that they've done the first two, they have to do the second two, but not just for the sake of doing it. It's got to serve a purpose within the story. But, I mean, I'd like to see it. Certainly. So I think the chances are pretty good, to answer your question. Anything to add?
I don't know. Just, I mean, we still got, like, 6 more volumes after this one.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
Ruby's not
there's plenty of
stopping
time for them
anytime
to do
soon,
part
yeah.
2s.
There's plenty of time. There's plenty of time for part 3s if they felt like it.
Or part 18s.
Question from Stopped Gold 585 on YouTube, who says, there's one question that definitely needs to be answered. Where is Ozpin? Where the heck is Ozpin? Okay, so predictions. What do you think? First of all, do you think we're going to see him this volume or not? Secondly, what the bloody hell is he doing?
I don't think we're going to see him this volume. And if we do, it will be at the very, very, very end.
I agree. Yeah. I think he's going to
pull it's too soon.
And disappear for the entire volume. Yeah. I also think we're going to see Raven this volume, hopefully.
Yeah, we have to.
Surely. She's been out of commission for an entire volume. And she was introduced in volume 2 at the end. So we've hardly seen anything of her. What do you think Ozpin's up to? Like, we kind of know from the end of the finale that he is wherever Salem is, I guess. Wherever that is. No idea where that is. But what is his deal?
Yeah, I don't know, because, like, he has to be doing something, and if he is with Salem, I can't help but wonder if he is I don't know. I don't know what could be happening with him. Like, he's got to be doing something to disrupt them, but I don't know. Like, he literally just vanished, and we don't know the extent of what he can do.
No,
like,
I
mean, literally
don't
anything.
know. Like, I really don't know what his deal is anymore. I certainly don't trust him or his motives. I don't know. I feel like he's a good guy, but even good guys do bad things. So, like, I'm more curious to know what's up with Summer Rose than Ozpin right now, because I know that, like, the Ozpin thing, he's going to go in the background now. He's not, like... I'm curious to see more about Summer Rose.
Yeah.
Than Ozpin.
Especially because we've... Yeah, it's... I don't know. Ozpin, like... I feel he has a plan. He has to have a plan. Like, I feel like he didn't not have a plan B in case things went to shit.
Yeah,
like,
I feel like he's too smart to think that everything was just gonna be sunshine and rainbows and, like, we're gonna take the bad guys down and all that sort of shit. Yeah, no, he had to have had a backup plan in case the maidens failed him. Or the Fall Maiden, anyway. Something else I've written down here is that Ruby was blocking with Crescent Rose, which is something we've never seen her do before, which was kind of like, why hasn't this happened before?
Yeah.
It makes so much sense. Like, we've never seen any of them block with their weapons, have we? Except Weiss, except that doesn't really count. Because...
Yeah, I mean, because she just used
Oh, no.
her, like...
Weiss blocks the chainsaw with her actual
Mm-hmm.
rapier. That's right, yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
we've seen her do it, but not Ruby. And it's such a big, bulky weapon, it would make sense to block with it.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was interesting. Kind of took me by surprise that she was, like, just blocking the gorilla's punches with her scythe. I was like, why hasn't she done this before?
Yeah. It just goes to show how much better she's gotten.
Yeah, well, exactly. There were some people complaining that, like, she looked like she was fighting kind of recklessly, but I didn't think so. I just think that the fact that she's so quick makes it look like that.
Mm-hmm.
And her semblance is certainly developed a lot since we saw her last. I have no idea what the hell was going on with that. She was all over the place.
I know.
But, like, in a controlled sort of way. She wasn't, she knew what she was doing. So,
Mm-hmm.
An interesting thing I noted about her scroll at the end with the rest of Team Ranger was that there was some text on the screen that said broadcasting receiving local area only, which I assume is because the towers are down, so there's no communication between kingdoms, but obviously they still have a way to communicate within the kingdom, or within a region anyway. So they have some communications up, but I guess they're still not able to communicate with anyone outside of the area. Speaking of the rest of Team Ranger, question from Nathan252 on Twitter. He asks, what do you think Jean will look like, and do you think he's a better fighter and has discovered his semblance?
I think he's gotten better. He has to have. Like, we've seen how Ruby has improved.
Oh, yeah.
But they would absolutely not have had him discover his semblance yet.
I don't think
like they've hyped it up so much over all the volumes that they couldn't just give it to him between seasons. Like, no. It's going to be a big moment for Jean.
No, that's a moment that we'll have to witness, and maybe this volume, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot to do about it last volume with Pyrrha. Well, not a lot, but it was mentioned. And the volume before that as well, even. Yeah, I hope we discover his semblance this volume. I feel like it's long overdue. And I just really want to know what it is. I'm curious.
Yeah.
And we had a little bit of a look at what Jean will look like, but that was a very, like, sort of meager drawing. He definitely looks older, and we know that they're all getting a facelift and different outfits, and all their hair is longer. Not like a literal facelift, like like no. Yeah, so I think he'll definitely be an improved fighter. I mean, he's been spending this long on the road with his team, his new team. He has to have improved. Surely. He wouldn't have survived if he hadn't. There's no way. I still don't think he'd be able to take on a gorilla by himself.
Oh, definitely not. Ruby barely could.
Yeah, barely, exactly. Last question was from our friend Chaotic Panda, who asked, what do we think of the new style of animation? Personally, I think it looks beautiful. And, yeah, I know you agree. It looks so much smoother. And it's just, the new software that they're using has really done them a lot of favors in improving the animation. Ruby's always had problems, like, with clipping and with jerky movements and just generally poor looking animation in some places. But I keep trying to look in that trailer for anything at all that sticks out, and there's just nothing. It's perfect. All of the animation is like... Except maybe that one shot where when she she's on the roof and she reloads Crescent Rose and turns around and fires. The sort of jumping effects on her cape were a little bit weird, but everything else I thought was awesome. It's the best that Ruby's ever looked, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I'll be excited to see how it looks in a more like non-combat situation with just like people talking and walking around, because that's where I think it will have. I think that's where it will have its difficulties.
Yeah,
not in the combat.
And they use motion capture for a lot of the just talking sort of stuff. And sometimes motion capture can be really a hindrance to animation instead of a help, but most of the time it does make things easier with having something to reference. But yeah, I don't know, like the combat in Ruby has always looked good compared to the rest of it. But the those scenes in particular and facial expressions and things like that really improved last volume. And just looking at the facial expressions on Ruby in this trailer, it seems like they've improved even further. And now that they're using Maya instead of Poser this year, so that's obviously done them a world of good as far as improving facial expressions and emotion on a character that otherwise is really flat. I think the dynamic lighting helps with that as well, because the faces don't look... Her face doesn't look as flat as it used to. Now that like there's shadows on her nose and the light is reflecting and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
I am kind of worried about how they will do lighting this season, just because that shot of Weiss, like the shadows were really weird for me.
Yeah.
And I don't know. So I'm kind of like, that one shot has me kind of worried about how they will handle shadows this season.
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more shadows than there ever used to be, and it's going to take them some time to work that out. So, Volume 4 is probably going to be a learning experience when it comes to shadows. And we'll just have to kind of take it with a grain of salt for a while until they work out what they're doing. I mean, we'll have to see the first episode.
Yeah.
Because then that's going to give us an idea of what the rest of the volume's going to look like. Because we can't really judge from this trailer just because it's just one big long fight scene. And that one video has had months and months of work go into it. Whereas the entire volume is all getting done within the same span of about 8 months or so that they spend actually working from pre-production to animation and all that, and to post-production. So
plus I think like the quality of I feel like the quality of this character short will be like the Red trailer was, kind of like, you know, the trailers were, and then once we get to the actual show it will be different.
It won't be as high of a standard, I don't think, as the trailer was, because obviously the trailer, they want to make the show look good. And the trailer does look amazing, but I don't think that standard of animation is going to hold up through the entire volume, and I'm not going to expect it to. I don't think anyone should expect it to, because we all know, like you said, like the Red trailer, well, all 4 of the trailers, the animation was, they spent a lot of time working on them, and then we got to Volume 1, and it was really, sometimes there were moments where it was just like, ugh. That animation was so bad. But that was Volume 1. Like, I don't expect as much of a jump in quality from this trailer to Volume 4 as there was from the trailers to Volume 1. Certainly. The show is growing up so fast.
I know.
Oh, we need to talk about the new outfits.
Oh, wow, how did we forget about that?
Especially Yang's, that was teased on Rooster Teeth's Facebook the other day. Because we didn't see it before then. The only one we've seen was the one that was shown in the video. Do you remember when we were talking about how boring her outfit was in comparison to the other 3? And then we see this and we're like, oh my god, it's so beautiful. But they're not
Mm-hmm.
showing us all of it yet, obviously, because they want to have some sort of reveal associated with that. But I guess they wanted to put her in it because you can't really stick her next to the other three and have her not look out of place in the like the casual khakis and jacket. Just wouldn't have looked right. So I'm glad that they did do that, even though all we can see basically is her butt. But, you know...
But it's a nice butt.
It is a very nice butt. Yang has a nice butt. Yeah, so that was really exciting to see that. I love all of the outfits. I think they're all fabulous.
Yeah.
And Ruby's looked really great in the actual video, which I'm happy with. Because, you know, they can go from concept art to video and not look as pretty as the concept art. Weiss's, I noticed, definitely doesn't look as pretty as the concept art. I don't know about Blake's yet, because we didn't really see much of her. But I did notice that her emblem was on her thigh boot, which we can't actually see in the concept art either. So yeah, I'm excited to see the rest of them in the actual footage. Because Ruby's looks really good. So
yeah,
hopefully the rest of them look just as good.
Yeah, especially with Weiss, like we only got like, you know, kind of the top half of her.
Yeah. Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
So, you know, once we get to see all of her and all of everybody, you know, we'll be able to make better judgments about how they look. But I mean, yeah, so far I think they look amazing.
Yeah, so far, like the concept arts, like I have them as my background on my computer because they just look beautiful, and I hope that they look just as beautiful in the footage, or close to that beautiful. Because it's really hard to mimic a gorgeous drawing, I know, but... we're going to have to wrap up here in a second, unfortunately. It's already been half an hour, oh my gosh. A couple more things I wanted to mention were the fire effects on the burning buildings that looked really good, and fire previously in Ruby has not looked very good. So... They were really impressive, and I watched the trailer specifically one time to watch the fire, and it was consistent across the entire thing with its sort of burning effects, which was cool to see. Again, they've spent a long time working on this one video, so that's to be expected. And then Ruby's cape at the start, just the way it moves was so lifelike. And, like, when she's walking, you can see her legs sort of kicking the cape out as she walks. And then when she turns around, and it was so flowy, and, like, it just looked so good. And I can only imagine how much time they must have spent getting that perfect. But it looked amazing, so...
Yeah, it looked great. It paid off. The time paid off.
But I'm not going to expect it to look like that for the rest of the volume. Because looking at this video, I can see the amount of work that's gone into every frame. And I'm like, they're just not going to have time to do that with the entire volume. Like, they've got 12 chapters to work on. But yeah, just incredible work by the animation team. Really impressive, considering they've done all of that in the same amount of time as they've done things like... in previous volumes. So I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the volume to see what it looks like. But it's definitely not going to be the same Ruby that we knew, which is a good thing. Yeah. A lot of people freak out about the fact that, oh no, the art style looks different and oh, everything's changing. But, you know, like, change can be a good thing and people will get used to it. I personally don't need to get used to it because it looks fabulous. But... like, this is the volume I'm the most excited for because everything is changing. Last volume, they took the rule book and tossed it out the window, and this is the perfect time for them to change the art style and the animation, because it is the end of the Beacon arc and the start of a new arc, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. Like, I'm excited to see what Volume 5 will look like. Because if this is Volume 4 and it looks this beautiful, can you only imagine what Volume 5 will look like? Wow. Oh my gosh. I don't even want to think about it because it's ages away yet.
I know, right?
Okay, we got to wrap up. Cory, any closing thoughts?
It's amazing. Watch the video on YouTube. The subtitles are funny.
Yeah. Oh my god, the closed captions. Yeah, we forgot to mention. So if you haven't watched the character short with closed captions turned on, go and freaking do it now because it is the funniest thing ever. The closed captions are hilarious. Whoosh, whoosh. So funny. Had me in stitches. Anything else?
No. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I'm so excited. I am going to the Ruby Volume 3 screening on the 19th of October. Maybe, hopefully the tickets will sell. And I have a sneaking suspicion that they're going to show either the entirety of the first episode of Volume 4 or at least some of it there. So I will let you know about that in my reaction video to that episode, whether, like, how much of it I may have seen at that screening. Because if I've seen it before, I apologize for not being able to film my live reaction, but that's just going to have to be how it is, so... Yeah. And opening animation.
Oh, yeah.
So Barbara did confirm on Twitter that this was the only trailer we were getting for Volume 4, but that leaves the question of, are they going to release the opening animation for this volume early, like they have done in previous years? I'm hoping they will. I mean, I don't see any reason for them not to. But, you know, that it could be like a time thing. They haven't said anything about it, but at the moment they're still kind of winding down from this video. So, I don't know. If it does go up, I'll be expecting it late next week at some point. If it does go up, cool. I'm not going to film a reaction to that, because no.
Yeah, it'll be a minute long.
Yeah, like, exactly. Yeah, no. But if that does go up, that will be cool. Yeah. And also, you may notice that there are 2 empty video windows below us here, I forgot to mention. That is because we will be having guests on this podcast, but not until the second episode of Ruby airs, so podcast number 3. The first one, I think, we'll just keep it as us two to kind of get the ball rolling, and we'll be able to talk for an hour about the episode easily.
Yeah.
Each podcast will be roughly an hour long, and we'll have some guests throughout the volume, so that will be good. Some of them you may know, some of them you may not. Yeah. And you can ask us questions on our social media. After the Ruby episodes are released, take to Twitter and Facebook. I'll leave the links to our social medias in the description. And ask us anything you want about the episode, or even just about the volume in general, or about predictions or whatever. And we'll answer those on the next podcast. So, also feel free to leave a question at any time if something pops in your head. Just tweet it at us, and we'll just write it down and answer it on the podcast. Yeah, and apart from that, be sure to subscribe to this channel and to subscribe to Cory's channel so that you don't miss when these podcasts are uploaded. And also all of our lovely reaction videos for the volume. And yeah, and this has gone way too long now, so we need to wrap up. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching the first Boopcast. We hope to see you for the next one on October the 24th?
4th, yeah, it'd be the 4th.
24th for me, 23rd for you, yeah. October the 23rd, 4th. We'll say 24th. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see you then. Thanks for watching, and yeah. Bye.
Bye.